Good Sunday, December 20th. We are one day away from the Great Conjunction, or the Christmas star as it's being called. The winter solstice also falling on Monday, December 21st. Now, this Great Conjunction, it happens about every 20 years, although we don't actually get to see it typically. And every 400 years, we've actually been able to see it, but about 400 years prior to that, we did see it align, just it was daylight. So now we haven't been able to actually see the star in its full entirety in 800 years. And here's what we expect to see happening. As the Earth rotates around the sun, it takes about a year, right? Jupiter takes almost 12 years to rotate around the sun. And then Saturn takes nearly 30 years to make its way all the way around the sun. But every about almost 20 years, we see the lining up of the Earth, Jupiter, and Saturn all lining up in one spot. Although not all of us can actually see this happen every 20 years. It's actually very hard to see. And that's every 400 years, it has been about the closest it gets to each other. And now we're looking at it actually visible 800 years later from the last time we saw it. So as the month has gone on, since about the 24th to 26th, we've been finally starting to see the lining up of Saturn and Jupiter. But it isn't until recently in this last week we've really seen it line up much closer together. And now, as of tomorrow morning, about I should say evening, December 21st evening, we should start to see the lining up to the point where it almost just looks like one massive star together, and it's just going to glow so bright and beautiful in the sky. That's what they're calling the Christmas star. So take a look if you can. Send us your photos like these ones we've been seeing. This one sent in to us by Michelle Rush. Look how close those are together within the last couple of days. And then this one a little further apart down there by Patty. Thank you so much for sending that in out of Tracy. We love your photos. Send them to us. Upload them on our ABC10 app. Now, we are looking at that thick, dense morning fog for your Sunday. And there is a dense fog advisory in place until noon. Yesterday, we saw a dense fog advisory only until about 10 a.m. So this is sticking around a lot longer, but it's also making for very cold temperatures this morning, near freezing morning lows. We saw 33 degrees for the morning low in Sacramento. Now we're looking at other spots around 31 to 32 degrees for the valley. Above average highs will continue. Typically this time of year, we're looking at 54 degrees. We do expect to see the upper 50s to low 60s today, but if that fog sticks around much longer, the temperatures will continue to stay kind of right around those mid 50s instead. So we're going to have to see what happens with the fog, how quickly it lifts. Now, the Great Conjunction, like we talked about, Jupiter and Saturn alignment, December 21st. That's going to be the best shots. Again, send us those photos. Now, with that dense fog advisory, it's really just north of Sacramento Woodland area up toward just south of Yuba City. We're looking at very thick fog for those areas all the way down south from Elk Grove, Stockton, Modesto, Atwater, Merced, and then even carrying on into areas around the Delta and Vacaville, Fairfield. So the fog really is sticking around for much later than we anticipate. 0 miles in visibility all the way down south with some patchy areas, very thick, less than a quarter mile in visibility for those spots. Ukiah now starting to see 4 miles in visibility as of about 9 a.m. And then Santa Rosa just covered in dense fog right around where we look at typically a lot of the wine country areas. So not unusual, actually really good for the grapes, but we will expect to see this sticking around at least through the lunchtime hour. Take a look, Sacramento, Elk Grove. We start to see a little bit of that lifting right around 10:30 a.m., but it's still going to take quite a while until we start seeing most areas lift with mostly sunny skies around 1 p.m. You can see Sacramento looks good, but from Elk Grove south, just north of Stockton, still patchy around I-599, and then Stockton to Modesto, still patchy around 1 o'clock. We're going to expect mostly sunny skies, but moving into Monday morning, again, we start to get Sunday night into early Monday morning. We start to get more of that fog. It does lift a little sooner than Sunday morning's dense fog. And then we have one more chance into Tuesday, overnight Monday into Tuesday morning to see a little fog form, but not quite as much as we've been seeing the last couple of days. Now, the high pressure system just offshore will still build, and that pushes the jet stream north. It's really targeting much of the Pacific Northwest and the band of moisture right behind it. This is pulling up. Basically, it's an atmospheric river, just a large plume of moisture out there over the Pacific being drawn up through the jet stream and making its way into the Pacific Northwest. But that big plume of moisture isn't making its way into California. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But because that high pressure is in place, being very stubborn, it's not allowing any of that to move its way down south for us to take benefit from the lack of rain that we are seeing right now. So fortunately, we're sticking around with more of that fog Fog from Sunday morning, Monday morning, and a little bit lingering for Tuesday morning. Here's where we see the best chance of rain is right there just north of Fort Bragg. That's basically it as we start moving from Monday night into Tuesday morning. Originally, we thought maybe we get some snow flurries right around Truckee, South Lake Tahoe, but at this point, still doesn't look like it makes its way that much toward the east and more north and south as well as southeast for us. So we're going to have to wait until then, till about, here it is, Sunday night into Monday. That's when we have the best chance for the next system to arrive. And looking at the computer models right now, it looks like it's going to be a big one. Looks like we're going to get quite a bit of rain and even some snowfall for the Sierra. Temperatures will remain in the mid to upper 50s out there. And it looks like your Christmas Eve and Christmas days right around 55, 54 degrees with overnight lows around the low 40s.